Greetings, my friends at Fourth Presbyterian Church. My name is Barlow Nelson, and I've been a member at Fourth since 2008. And in that time, my wife and I have had wonderful experiences, met new friends, and have enjoyed all the programs and the worship at Fourth Church. But every time I go into Fourth Church, whether it's through the main entrance of the sanctuary or through the Gratz Center, I'm reminded that these buildings and Fourth Church are the products of legacies of people that have gone before us. Now, what is Fourth? It's not just a building. It is programs, it's gatherings, it's schools, it's worship, it's friendships, and it's a community. Thus, we are the beneficiary of prior legacies. And if Fourth Church is to continue, what will be our legacy? Now, for our purposes here, what is a legacy? It's a gift or a bequest that has been handed down, endowed, or conveyed from one generation to another. Something received from a predecessor generation. It is a creation, often with a stated purpose and duration. Now, how do you implement a legacy? First of all, once you've decided what you want to accomplish, you need to consider how you're going to fund this legacy. Is it with cash or real estate or securities or a combination? You need to decide who's going to be in charge, who's going to run it for its duration. You need to determine who or what will be the beneficiaries, and you should specify the detailed purposes and its duration. Now, how to create this legacy requires documents. When you buy an asset or otherwise acquire it, there is a name attached to it. It's either a jointly held property, single name account, or a life estate. Likewise, methods of funding a legacy can be through a will, and that is a document that has been executed and witnessed in accordance with the laws of the particular jurisdiction where you reside. The will sets forth the terms and conditions of the legacy and determines who is going to be in charge of it and the duration. Likewise, how it will be distributed. Now, what happens if there's no will? We often hear people say, oh, I don't need a will. I don't have enough of an estate. All my property's in joint tenancy. And they just put off executing a will. If that's the case, then your legacy will never be funded or carried out. It must have some specific direction. Now, it's not a present upfront gift. It's something that's anticipated to be distributed at a later time, specifically after one's demise. Another means by which a legacy can be funded is with life insurance. Life insurance, however, is paid in a lump sum usually after the demise of the insured. So it doesn't have the abilities to have designations or duration as a legacy gift. So the other principal document is a trust. A trust can be created under a will, which is called a testamentary trust. In other words, the will would set forth the terms and conditions and the duration of the legacy. A living trust is one that is established during the lifetime of the persons establishing the legacy. And another kind of trust is a charitable remainder trust. In other words, the charitable remainder would be the church or other charity that would receive the actual assets following the demise of the person who established the legacy. The charitable remainder has several advantages that are helpful for a legacy. The income can be retained, and it has income tax consequences on the creation of the trust. The advantages of trust, whether it's a testamentary trust or a charitable remainder trust, it avoids the probate proceedings, and it's easy to create and easy to amend. Its disadvantages, however, is expensive to create and amend. It requires a qualified trustee, and it usually requires a lifetime transfer of assets. Well, now, how do we get started? First of all, once you've made a determination that you want to set up a legacy, you should make a list of your assets And that list should also include not only what the asset is, but the title designation, and also an estimate of the value. That estimated value is useful in determining any potential estate tax liability. Then you need to select your professionals, in other words, the attorney who might be drafting the documents. You need to establish your contacts with your CPA or accountant. And it's also sometimes helpful to have your financial advisor in the planning phase. And I think it's also, if you so desire, since it's a charitable remainder back to the church or any other charity, you should discuss that plan with a pastor or some member of the staff. And you should also discuss this plan with your family so there are no surprises at the end. The other items that you should consider while you're there with your attorney or CPA or advisor: a healthcare power of attorney. In other words, that's the document that somebody would use if decisions were necessary to make decisions with regard to your health. A power of attorney for property is also necessary. That person would be able to carry on some of the business proceedings if you were not able to. Now, I'm going to leave you with a little bit of an example here. Years ago, I had the pleasure of working with a lady who was retired from the school system. And she determined that her income from her pension and her Social Security were insufficient to provide for her care. And her property advisor, suggested she set up a charitable remainder trust. And that's what happened. After she decided what she wanted to do, she wanted to leave it to the church. And since she had been a member of the choir for some 40 years, she wanted, if possible, to make it something that would help with the music program at the church. So in company with the pastor from the church, we discussed this plan with her. And to this day, now that she's passed on, the property is used to provide music, choir robes, organ repairs, and anything else that's attributable to the music program. So it worked out well. She had more income, and the charity of her choice was benefited. One more thing before we leave. After you've executed your documents, be sure you tell your family where the documents are. Tell them who is in charge after you're gone, and so that somebody is around to take care of the legacy in the manner that you have directed in your documents. Now, another resource for your assistance: the Fourth Church created a legacy advisory committee made up of Fourth Church members. We stand ready to provide for you additional information and materials about Fourth Church legacies. And in addition, the church has retained the full-time professional services of Mr. Stuart Garnes Jameson, who stands ready to assist in any way that you may need. Stuart may be contacted by phone at the church, area code 312-502-3397. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Bye.